Now, once you've hired your firm and you're happy with them, the first thing I would like to advise you is to be honest with the firm and tell them what is happening. Sometimes people are embarrassed. They don't want to say what's really going on. So, for example, if you have a disgruntled mistress and you don't want anyone to know you have a mistress, you need to tell the security firm because something bad could happen. If you're a public figure and you've been receiving threats and letters, but you'd prefer to just ignore them, you need to tell the security firm. They're there to handle these things. If you've seen suspicious cars in the neighborhood that seem to show up all the time, you need to tell people. So start by being honest with your security firm. Second, when it comes to your teenagers, you need to think about security for them as well, particularly if they start traveling independently with a school group or a church group. I know of a couple of teens of a wealthy family who went on a safari in Africa. They were doing charity work in a village and staying in a very nice resort. However, there was a coup in the country while they were there. A rebel militia group tried to take over, and the parents had to spend a fortune, and the children were terrified as they tried to get them out of the country. So please take this seriously. Every school trip or church trip has to be vetted by your security team before you allow your children to go. Please understand that you do not blend when you go to countries that are less wealthy than the country that you live in. I knew of one gentleman who thought he could go on a trip down the Amazon paddling in his boat and that nobody would notice that he wasn't a local. Well, he had brand new equipment from the United States and incredibly expensive watches, etc. And of course, he was mugged and everything was taken from him. And he hadn't put a security protocol into place, and he had a very bad result. Also, your security protocols need to extend to the staff of both your foundations and your single family office. Tragically, I know of a family where one of their foundation workers was murdered because she was lured to a conference in Latin America where someone murdered her so that the name of this group could get in the paper because she was associated with a very wealthy family. That is a terrible tragedy, and I had to personally sit with her husband and son and talk about what the family was going to do for her. But quite frankly, we didn't have a security protocol in place for this family. And so when this woman was initially kidnapped, there were 72 hours where people were scrambling, trying to do something for the staff member, and by that time it was too late. She was dead. Now, in that case, unfortunately, the plan had been to kill her all along, so it wouldn't have mattered if we had had a security protocol, but on the other hand, maybe it would have mattered. Maybe we could have found her before she was executed. So this is an unfortunate and serious topic, and I'm sharing these stories with you because I really want to emphasize this stuff happens. I'm only one consultant, and I know of dozens of horror stories, so please take security seriously. Put it in place for the family, but also extend that security to the staff of your foundations or your family offices, anybody who is associated with the family, particularly if you have a very well-known name or you are publicly known as a family, because those people can be in danger as well. Now, cybersecurity is an entire topic on its own. I am not an expert in technology, but I do know, again, that this is an area where you cannot skimp. And single-family offices are definitely a target for cybersecurity hacks. This means you get both the technology team and your security team to work together. Every mobile device, every iPad, every access into your home, Alexa, Echo, everything. You've got to have all these things checked out by your team. And because these threats are constantly evolving, you want to have the people that are covering your cybersecurity requirements on a regular retainer, and you want to have this aspect of your life constantly monitored. This is the world we live in today, and so it's something that we just have to deal with. If you're a public figure, if you're a CEO or a politician, or you're a shareholder, any information that you can possibly imagine is out there about you on the internet. And just as there are people that look at you to potentially invest in your company, unfortunately, there are criminals looking at you to see how they could penetrate your defenses and attack you and your family. So it is critical that you take these things seriously. This is the age that we live in, and it's in fact always been like this. But now there are lots of tools out there and groups that specialize in working with single-family offices. So make security your number one priority and protect your family. That is your first obligation. and that will be the best thing you could possibly do with your wealth.